Okay, there we go. So once again, we have to do our usual, call to order and attendance, like a school teacher. And if we have people online, we have to do it all by name. So Cressica. Kreska, you here? Yeah, okay. Holly. Here. Ava. Here. Janice. Here. Bill.
Here.
I'm here. Monica. Here. Catherine.
Here.
Okay. So. And we can then do an approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Does anybody have any comments or about the minutes?
I had one. On the top of page 2. Where it says Janice stated that you can island a battery, is that really it?
Can you island a battery?
It's usually
That's what it
a
said.
verb, but you know what it means.
That you can island a battery?
That's what I
Means
heard.
you can separate, you can detach yourself from the grid and be independent of the grid with a
Oh, is
battery.
that what it means?
That's what it
Phrase?
means.
Okay, thanks. I didn't understand.
And you did say that, correct?
Probably.
She did, because I remember thinking about it.
That's the concept?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Movement to approve. So moved. Second.
Second.
Okay. Any
That
further
motion?
discussion? What?
Monica.
Any further discussion? All right. Vote to approve. Again, we have to do the roll call. Trevor.
Aye.
Kreska.
Yes.
Polly.
Yes.
Ava.
Yes.
Janice.
Yes.
Bill.
Yes.
Me, yes. Monica.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that passes. Okay, before we move on, I'd like to welcome Elizabeth Dyer, for those who have met. She's seated over here. And I guess people online can't see her.
If you say
If
something.
you say
I'll
something.
move on.
But,
Oh,
yeah, there you
I
go.
think it wants. to
That's
see.
Holly.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, hi, yeah, that's me.
Talk about the community event and then a couple of announcements. Okay, so fire station.
Are you comfortable doing that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So today at 1 o'clock, we met in the fire station training room, public safety area with Fred and Mert. We spoke about possibly getting a new generator or using the old generator for the building, which controls the garage, public safety, the old health center area, and the town office. During the meeting, we were thinking about the old or new generator going outside to reduce exhaust issues. We want to, and we need to maintain the generator room right now because the communications for the service of public safety and fire department for all of the pagers are in there, so it has to stay safe. We are gonna stay with the current generator. Mert informed us that it's inspected and serviced every single year. It is the oldest generator on the island current to date, but it's pretty well done.
On the town buildings.
For the town buildings,
Yeah.
yes. No, I don't know about houses, but yes. But, he said it's serviced every single year. We're still able to get the parts for it, so that's good. We're gonna keep our eye on it. We're still gonna keep the generator in the current room that it's in. There is proper exhaust piping, then what we did assume that it was no exhaust flow for it. So he told us that the exhaust piping runs from the room, goes up into the attic and out through the roof, so that's good. We need to find someone to be able to seal. There's a vent on the exterior wall that is allowing cold air and hot air to come in through the area. Also, over time, the ambulance has backed up into a few items, safety cones that has pushed in the service wall, which was created to allow easier access of getting to the generator if the generator needed to be left. It was created in order to put the generator in. It's a diesel generator. We did speak about possibly getting a new generator, which went off of propane because it's cleaner, but Mert really made it clear that he would prefer this generator. And if we were to get a new generator for the Up Island garage, he still really wants to do the diesel generator because he's worried about the propane tanks and the possibilities of an issue occurring, such as, i.e., explosions. He used a different terminology for it, but that's something to consider. Another thing was thought of, if we did get a new generator, how expensive it would be because of the way it helps and controls the entire municipality building here. We would have to match it up as the old generator is at, what's it, 35 to 48K to be used.
35 to 38.
38, sorry. And, oh yeah, so there was a discussion at the end of the meeting by Fred. He was wondering, since we are not going to be buying a new generator, instead we're gonna be paying for someone to kind of seal up the wall, seal up the exhaust area, put in a new door frame and a new door to help easier access, because it's just a piece of plywood right now and it's breaking down. He was wondering if the energy committee was okay with setting aside the funds that we have agreed upon and voted on to set it for servicing the generator and keeping it intact and well. The person who would be servicing it would be Solar Logics, is that?
Probably.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about the heat pumps, we were talking about,
That is correct.
The heat pumps, okay, then
Yeah.
yeah, the heat pumps.
which actually just, we do have funds in our current budget. We budgeted $25,000 for renovations to the, and actually there's some money left over from this last year's budget for the fire station. So, and that we had envisioned moving the generator and possibly getting a new one. Now, if we don't use those funds, we can think about other options. Nobody in the town is gonna be upset if we don't spend our entire budget. And so I think that's very doable from a financial standpoint. Long term, it needs to be part of the town maintenance budget.
Then we also did speak about making sure to have the upkeep of the generator, such as cleaning out the filters. And we spoke with Mert and Fred about how the town needs to find someone to be able to do this basic servicing instead of actually fixing servicing when they come out once a year, because that will help their ability to run. Now, mind you, the generator itself isn't running all the time. It only runs whenever there's power outage. Side note, there is another service area that has a fuel tank. Mert did let us know that he does not want that door and that little storage area fixed because he's moving the tank to a different location, the opposite location as to it's now, which is gonna be the furthest exterior wall closest to the health center that powers the furnace, which is inside the public safety fire department training area. Am I missing something? Oh, Mert also explained that he really, really believes, and I agree with him, as most of us do, that a generator does need to be installed and ready for when the Up Island garage is open, so there's no delay for it, so they can actually go and get clean fire trucks and get the items they need instead of a power outage occurring and an issue happening and there's no power. So.
Holly,
Have we looked at, I mean, diesel, it's not horrific on this, the scale of everything. But, and I know he doesn't like propane, but if it's underground, like if it's buried and the tank's underground, isn't it less? It's more stable because the temperature would be more constant. And if something happened, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as if the tank's just out there in the, right next to the building.
I agree with that. The biggest issue that we thought about is, and Mert was very adamant about using this old generator because it's pretty good right now. There's
Well,
no
that's
issues.
here, right?
Yeah, for when we go up island, definitely we would have to do it, but we would have to have it such a large tank. We couldn't use the smaller ones. So then that way they didn't have to worry for such a long time about getting constantly refilled. But that is something that we would like to bring up to him in the future when we think about the new generator going for the Up Island garage. Because I, and a few other people have propane generators and I see how quick and simple it is. And it is cleaner. It is a little bit more expensive than diesel at the moment. But at the same time, overall, it would help. But I agree, it would need to be dug underground. So, and there's no issue. We have plenty of people on the island and companies that are able to do that.
So nobody here, I think, is on the, oh, go ahead, Kathy, sorry.
Well, that fuel difference, I know because I was investigating for something else, gets smaller in the winter as the price of fuel oil and diesel goes up in the winter on demand.
Yeah.
So
And it depends on
it's
who's
still a
using it.
small difference, but it's not as big as it would be quoted right now.
How much are we talking about for money? Do we know?
We did not quite discuss the financial.
As far
aspect
as
of it.
difference to what,
No, like this whole thing, like buying the generator and the fuel and all that, because
So what we have budgeted would go towards the future projects and also keeping up with servicing the heat pumps in the municipality building.
would you remind me what we
go
have?
toward the fire station project, which I think was in the ballpark of 10,000. So we have about $35,000 budgeted for this project, which is quite a lot.
Yeah, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but did anybody price out like batteries instead of generators?
So I agree, batteries would be possibly a good idea, but at the same time, the generator and the way how everything is quick and scope, it would just be simple set
That's what a
aside.
battery is.
I've got one in my car that we can plug in right now. No, seriously, I can bring it in
I
here.
think we would have to look over the entire scope of the Up Island Fire Garage once it's getting into the role of building it. To figure out exactly what all needs, cause you gotta think it's the lights, it's the exhaust system, it's the HVAC system, it's the
Yep, we'd have to get
furnace,
the
heat pumps.
capacity.
Yeah, so
Right.
we would have to
And
figure out.
Duration, it's not
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
instantaneous capacity, it's duration.
Yeah,
Yep,
so I assume the batteries would be more expensive, but it'd be really a shame if we didn't at least make sure of that.
Yeah, it's not just that they're more expensive to install. Part of it is, how long they can actually support the building. And, what's our typical or what's the maximum power outage we'd be likely to have? We don't know, of course, but we certainly have had 4 or 5 day outages.
And with a fuel driven generator, I mean, we went through this with Egypt. Egypt demonstrated for us how much more expensive it would be to cover our needs with just batteries as opposed to a
Yeah,
combination.
for the
of
whole
batteries.
island.
Well, yeah, but it was the principle of the demand and how to
I'm-
cover the demand.
I'm just saying, it would be foolish of us not to have at least
Consider it, yeah.
considered it.
I think.
Yeah, and what I was about to say is that if you're running a generator on fuel, if the fuel gets low, you can always refill the tank. But if your battery gets low and the power's out, you can't recharge the battery.
or if the ferry isn't running and you can't get any fuel.
Right, but there are repositories of fuel on the island
Right.
that could be scraped together in need.
But it's something to think about.
And I think another thing is also with the battery being an electronic component. Instead of a diesel propane component, it may be a little bit harder to convince EMERT upon it.
Yep,
Because
That
it
is
was
a-
very.
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
that-
it was
make that
also
clear to them.
because the EV charger was installed right in front of the public safety firehouse. Without really any discussion with them about it, and God forbid, if anything were to happen, if an EV charger
Yeah.
goes off, the arsenic gas in, and then the fire department can't get into the house in order to get their
Okay.
product. So.
I guess I will have to surrender on this, but it just seems like we should have at least considered it.
Well, it's not standing still quite yet, it's just throwing out brainstorms.
Yeah. Right, I mean, it's still. Well. It's still an option, let's put it that way.
what I see right now is 2 camps. People that are used to the way it's been and are not sure about the future, and people who are starting to dabble in the future and see the possibilities.
Okay,
Cressica had her hand
oh, I'm
raised.
sorry,
I don't-
Cressica?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, in the process of doing all these grants and trying to understand the electrical systems of the Up Island Garage, yeah, we looked at batteries versus generators, and because all of the Up Island Garage heating system is electric, and it's not just heat pumps, it's also unit heaters, which are like 20 or 30 kilowatts or more. It's just not viable to have those functioning off by batteries at this time. We'd be looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars
Okay,
for
so we,
short periods.
okay, I'm happy. We at least thought of it.
So moving on to the library, so the library, the library solar is complete, the library heat pumps are currently, actually, I haven't gone by to look, they were supposed to start yesterday on that. Now there has been some discussion around batteries for the library, which does not have a generator, of course, it's not a critical building in the sense of, emergency services and stuff. Now, Bill and Holly attended a meeting of the Friends of the Library. Do one of you wanna
Well,
talk about? Yeah,
basically, I just wanted, and Bill also had, set up a presentation on how he has his home set up and what he uses as backup, with his generator when the power goes out. He's already shared that he has a generator,
yeah,
but he also has some battery backup that he uses for other systems.
yeah,
And they were really just interested to know what the possibilities are at that point. I talked about what Alan and I use, which is EcoFlow batteries, and we're also looking at another power system possibly that we can use with solar. And we don't have to have the solar on our roof. We can, use it in the yard if we want to. So that's another possibility. What they realized is they really don't know what they need, in terms of,
yeah,
go ahead, Bill.
Well, I just wanted to add to that. I think we do know what they need right now. They need battery backup on their computer, any sensitive information that could be lost. We suggested that maybe if they were in the middle of a presentation, they'd have a battery backup on the computer and the screen that were making the presentation, so that could be finished. We were talking about the need for battery backup on the furnace, because the furnace requires electricity to circulate the heat and also to spark flame. So, but all of those, probably the totality of those could be purchased for less than $1,000.
Yeah, yep. So they really just need to decide, what they wanna do. And it's gonna require some research because they wanted to get some background in the amount of of what they're using right now,
Right.
that they have the new heat pumps in. And what they might wanna purchase moving forward.
right. I think, there's a camp, if you will, that, is very interested in, at the library among being energy net zero, which they may be, we put up the largest solar array possible, which way more than covers what their energy use was before the heat pumps. And we hope, will cover what is used by the heat pumps, but we won't know that for sure until some
And
time
that's,
goes
they wanna
by.
get some
And
data.
then, whether you can keep sort of critical things going if you have a low level battery that powers the furnace. It does mean you're resorting to some fossil fuel when the power goes out. So if you're a purist about avoiding fossil fuel, then you'd want to have something that would power the heat pumps, but then that requires something much bigger and much more expensive.
Can I just refresh my memory? Is this an internal discussion for the Friends? Are they planning to fund
The
whatever they
Friends-
decide?
The Friends is planning to fund
So they just
what
want
they
expert
decide, but they
opinion.
want
Okay,
advice
thanks.
on the committee. They,
Gotcha.
but they're the ones funding.
There's no ask for the town or the.
No.
No. Well, the energy committee again asking for advice is, yeah,
I would suggest, and I think we did, in fact, that a battery backup for the oil furnace would be in the province of the town to support, because that's emergency backup for the building. That's a maintenance issue for the building. That's a town issue. So, and we're
Yeah.
talking about, a really modest amount of money.
Right,
okay. Now, we did at least informal discussion, talk about the possibility of for them pricing out a couple of those options so that we could then advise. Okay, moving on to the health center. As some of you may have seen, the health center solar has just gone up, and I believe, well, they asked me to turn on the circuit breaker this afternoon, so I think
Oh, must have felt good.
yeah. Now, we then also met, Cressica, Bill and I met with, Tim Larson from Sundog Solar. Cressica, you can fill us in more on this, but the original plan had been to put up a ground array that would provide a larger amount of, the energy needs of the library, and
Library?
not the library, I'm sorry, the health center. But that's a much bigger project and, it was something that was in the original grant, but there was a, imperative to use the grant money as quickly as possible, in case somebody decided to cut off the grant funding. And so some of the expenses were moved around in a legitimate way, things that were, could legitimately be covered by the grant and, set aside some of the other building funds toward a future ground array. But, you know, we want to kind of move ahead with those plans. And we just asked the Sundog Solar people who are here doing the roof array to give us some opinion and some options. I don't know, Cressica, do you want to say more about that?
Sure. So we had identified two sites for the health center solar, and one of them has now been occupied by the new septic field for the municipal complex. So that one is probably not going to be viable. So we are looking at a section in behind the health center that is not wetland area. It's, you know, basically directly next to the wetland. And they're going to price that out. It would require a bit of clearing, but it really doesn't need to be that large an array. It's probably needs to be an array that's about the size of what's on top of the town office right now. And that will possibly cover the rest of the health center's electricity needs. In addition, they're going to give us a proposal for the the fire. Number one, I'm not sure if that was part of the discussions today, if that was even broached with the public safety or anything like that today.
Well, we didn't bring that up, no.
No.
So that's the first thing we need to do is find out how feasible that is for them, and then
the roof looks worn anyways. We'll eventually need some repair. That would have to be done first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also the issue with constructing it there is that's the only remaining viable site for additional solar for the town office. And the town office is currently using twice as much electricity as it produces with the current array because of the new heat pumps, and because prior to that it was still using about 50% more than was produced by that array. So it would be an important additional project to look at, regardless of whether or not we end up putting the health center array on a roof or not.
Cressica, you were involved in the planning of and budgeting of all of this, and we put the array up on the south roof, which has just gone up. And we did not include the smaller roof facing east. And was that discussed, putting some up there?
You mean the one that would face the
Over the entrance, yeah.
I mean, the array on the roof is so small that
Yeah.
that additional effort of putting additional panels up there, it's likely going to be it should be cheaper to put those on the ground and they'd occupy, a tiny bit more area on the
Right.
ground. So it really didn't matter whether or not there's additional panels up there or not. Like,
I actually take
That's
exception to
grand
that.
scheme of course. Okay.
I talked with the installers and they said that that surface area could be put up in a day.
Yes,
And
it could absolutely, just like they did the current one,
before we estimate, it would be a good idea to figure out what the productivity would be. Some of it is south facing, just as the main roof is, and some of it is southeast facing. And it ought to be possible to calculate what that additional surface area would cost per kilowatt, whatever. And I bet it'd be a lot cheaper than the ground array. And it would be directly tied in behind the meter in the building.
Well, the ground array will also be tied in by the meter, and it was also an aesthetic decision we made with the architect just to
And-
use that south-facing
And
roof.
at a lower cost than the trenching required.
Yeah. Okay, so,
We have to have a ground array no matter what, so a few extra panels on the ground array would likely be more cost efficient. So that's what we were looking at.
yeah, okay. Any other questions about that? Okay, moving on. So Holly, I know you've been working on the EV chargers and
So I finally got somebody to come out and take a look at where we wanted to install the EV chargers. And he was supposed to get me an estimate by today, but he has been running and I sent him an email this afternoon early and he said he just hadn't been able to get to it and his boss wasn't available either. But he did look at the location and he was a little concerned with the diameter of the conduit that's there. Because I told him it was our intention to put 2 EV chargers up there. He said he wasn't sure the conduit was large enough for the wiring for 2 EV chargers. So he was gonna do an estimate with 1, and then he was gonna do an estimate with making sure the conduit, he was gonna check on the conduit. And then if need be, he was gonna do 2 estimates, 1 just using the conduit we have, and then 1 having to change the conduit to conduit that would use.
when we say 2, we were talking about a single post with a double head, right?
Right.
And the wiring is significantly larger.
Well, Bill's gonna look at it.
I don't know, actually, I will look, but I'm not an expert at this, and
Yeah.
we'd have to look at the amperage requirement for the unit. And
I mean, for some reason, I thought the conduit was the diameter was a lot bigger than this, but that's about what it is.
Like that, she's holding up her fingers.
Yeah, it's about 1.5 inches,
Yeah.
probably.
Wow.
we can get a piece of wire from Viking. They'll cut off a foot of the wire for us. We can see if we can stick 2 wires in there. Sticking them in is one thing, pulling 2 wires over distance is something else. We'll have to see. I mean,
Yeah.
Justin could probably tell us, Greg Cheney could probably tell us,
But it's Greg doesn't, I talked to Greg, he does not wanna get involved in it because of. He's trying to be PC. Justin, I've talked to Justin doesn't wanna do it because he has some other issues that I spoke to Harriet about.
Yeah.
So
So who was the person who came to take a look?
Tyson Mason, with Solar Logic.
So, Cressica, am I wrong? Wasn't the specification for the conduit to handle 2 chargers?
Yes, that's the specification I gave them, but I was not involved in the design, so.
Well, still, but
Yeah.
I mean. That was.
I mean, he said that they could do it,
Uh-huh.
but you know what it's going to require. Them trenching,
Yeah, I mean, that's just.
Some what?
crazy.
trenching, putting a new. Different size conduit down.
Okay, before we have a fit or apoplexy, I'll get a couple feet. I'll find out what gauge wire is required. I'll get a couple feet, see if we can stick it in that conduit. Alright,
Okay.
that's at least a physical experiment. Getting it in the end is one thing, getting it all the way to the other end is another thing, but at least we can get that far.
Yeah. I was just comparing it to the line that I use at my house that I plug in and it goes to the cars.
But that's a different kind of insulation than is required, than is used typically on this kind of cable. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, it is pretty mind-boggling that a trench was dug, conduit was laid for the purpose of having two garters. To have to dig it up again. No, it's not your fault.
I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I
Yeah.
just wanna let you know that the thought is out there that it might not be appropriate.
Yeah, that's.
That's a contractor issue.
Yeah.
If it's in the specs, they screwed up.
Okay, well, more to come on that, I guess. So, on a positive note, we've already introduced Elizabeth, and so Janice is her primary, what do you call it?
Advisor, I guess.
Advisor.
Advisor on the committee. That doesn't mean that she won't be working with other members of the committee on various projects, but maybe you could go through what you've talked about so far as what Elizabeth is gonna be doing. And
Do you want me to speak for you or do you want to speak for yourself?
I can share a little bit,
Yeah.
but please jump in and correct me. Yeah, so hi, I'm Elizabeth. I moved here from outside Chicago. I went to school at Allegheny College in Northwestern Pennsylvania, a degree in environmental science. And also Spanish, so if anyone wants to talk in Spanish, we can practice Spanish, but I'm here to work on energy. So Janice is my supervisor, my primary supervisor advisor, and I'm going to be working on sort of high level assessing how projects have been going and looking at some data that we have, and just kind of looking for pathways forward. But then also you might see me at the community center and I'll be working with Candace Proby on youth programs for the students, the kids there, with like climate related curriculum. So that's also going on for me. Yeah, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so what we're gonna try to do is collect data on the impact, the projects we've already done. That didn't come out in good English, but anyway.
Completed.
And then Elizabeth will be helping us with community outreach and program planning, things like that. So she just got here on the 5th, which was Friday, so.
so, yeah, go ahead.
Her office will be at the ICC because we're sharing her time 50-50 with the ICC. So her desk will be at the ICC, which reminds me, I need help getting the desk from my house to the ICC. So if anyone has I would really welcome help.
I'm not very strong, so I may not be able to lift it, but.
It just doesn't have to be 3 of us. It could be more than, we need
I think
help.
we can manage.
We need help getting the desk to the ICC.
Yeah, okay.
I can't do it tomorrow and I can't do it Thursday, but I can do it Friday.
Okay.
Do you need it sooner?
We need it whenever it gets there. The drawers are already there. We just need the desk there.
Well, that makes it easy.
Yeah, I'm all fine with both days.
Was there anything else we we're gonna talk about today?
Okay.
So the Island Institute is really strict about not over or underworking the fellows. So Elizabeth, Elizabeth is 50-50 between us and the ICC, so it's roughly 15 to 17 hours with each of us, depending on what requirements the Island Institute has for her to do. So roughly 30 hours a week total. So that's why we just want to be very careful. I would love to have her involved with all of you. I mean, I think it would be really enrich her experience here, but we just have to make sure that we don't hog her time. So if you have an idea of what you would like her to be doing, let's talk about it, but don't just jump in and have her do something. We need to talk about it, and that's why.
Something we were gonna talk about, maybe this is for later, the meeting in Rockland.
Oh, right, I'm the Energy Committee representative to the Main Island Coalition, and I can't go, so Elizabeth might go in my place, and then there is an ETIP
I was gonna mention that.
meeting in October.
I was gonna bring that up.
Oh, okay.
That I didn't put it on the agenda, but I've got it down.
Is it okay if we do it right now?
Sure, go ahead.
So, unless someone else really is interested in going, it's in Rockland, it's on Wednesday, October 22nd, and half a day on the 23rd. And they'll take two of us from each ETIP site, and we would be involved as a former site because we don't know if we got our ETIP grant. So I was gonna suggest that Elizabeth and I are the representatives from our,
Yeah,
unless someone else really,
so what I was gonna,
Wants
what
to
the
step in.
invitation says is that they will provide funding for 2 representatives from the island for overnight stay plus some meals, but more people can go, but would have to pay their way. And what, it's the regional meeting, it's gonna be participants from all of the Northeast and the Great Lakes area, so it's a fairly large meeting. I have the announcement here someplace that there are gonna be various seminars and things. So I think that, if multiple people wanna go, certainly I think we prioritize paying for Elizabeth, letting Elizabeth be one of the ones who are subsidized. And then, I don't know whether we can draw straws or people wanna pay for themselves, that's fine, but actually, everybody's welcome, and I didn't see it on the announcement. Kreska, you told me there was gonna be a Zoom option also, if people wanna just Zoom in. Is that right?
Yeah, supposedly. And I think Janice also just said that she was gonna go, wanted to go.
Yeah.
So
I
that would be
go.
2 representatives.
Yeah.
What were the
Like
dates?
It's October 22nd and 23rd. I cannot go, I'm gonna be away, but,
yeah, Islesboro missed this the first time around when we were in the first cohort of ETIP, and we missed the regional one because they just didn't give us enough time to,
Yeah.
none of us could go.
there's also a meeting, this week, which is a Zoom meeting,
On
which is
Thursday.
just the local Island Institute ones, got that down. It's on Thursday at 11, and again, it's cohorts 2 and 3, talking about what they've been doing. The groups that are associated with the Island Institute only, so we can forward the link to, so if you wanna let me know if you're interested, like I said, as many as people. We can send as many as people wanna go, we just only have 2 paid slots or reimbursed slots. You're not paid for your time, it's just expenses reimbursed. Okay, go ahead. Is there anything else?
I don't think so, except for the next item on the agenda.
Yeah, so we can, yeah, go ahead.
I did send the email thread earlier today from Trevor about speaking about window dressers.
Oh, I forgot to put that on here, yes. So Trevor, I apologize, I forgot to put you on here about the window dressers. Do you wanna update us on where we are?
Yeah, so we have some amount of signups. I think we can do more in terms of like soliciting people to get interest. There's a number of people from last year that we need to follow up on. So we have a contacts list. The core group should just be emailing people out. The next step is measuring the people that are interested and putting in the orders. We probably need to do a refresher training for anybody that's interested in measuring. And so I guess I would ask if anybody else is interested in measuring outside of like the core window dresser group I've been working with, which is Cressica, Janice, Ava, and Harriet. Please email me, and then we'll set up a time to do like measuring and data entry, so that we know how to do that stuff, and then we'll start reaching out to people to arrange appointments. We only have one measurer. I'm going to see about getting another one from window dressers. Kissy has apparently lost the second one. She can't find it. Kreska, you mentioned that you had one. Is that on island or is it with you?
Yeah, it's on the island right now.
Okay,
Are
so
they
be able to get that.
Are they expensive?
I mean, I don't think they're expensive. They're like laser pointers that like measure distance. And so I'm gonna guess this is probably like somewhere between $20-$30. So I don't think they're super expensive.
Can we just
We just,
invest in our own and keep them ourselves so we don't go
we,
through this each time?
we could, but it's not hard to keep track of these things. Like, it shouldn't be. And we can definitely leave them with the town. Like there's tools and stuff, things that are stored in the town. It just needs to be kept in a consistent place. And so it's just a matter of like getting them more. They're like window dressers use these specifically ones. I don't know if they're available at Aubuchon's or where we get them. I'll follow up and see about getting more. Um,
You're
and
going. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Do we have to use specifically those? I have a laser measurer, but it isn't that brand.
Well, we should compare the results. All I know is like we're putting in data the way window dressers expects it. And so we should use their tools where we can.
Mhm.
So I think if you have one of these tools and you want to get involved in measuring, then we should have a laser off.
Trevor, do you have
Sounds
any
like Star
idea how
Wars.
many people are that we need to measure so far?
In terms of people that are like confirmed for 2025, it's just a handful. It's not that many. There's a lot of people who've expressed interest, but we haven't like gotten final responses for them yet. I also want to get like counts of windows to understand like the scope of how long the measuring will take, but need to get on it.
Okay.
The Islesboro Island News now has an online version. You might want to consider putting an article in their online paper and also get on the community calendar, get the build on there and the measuring dates.
There's a lot of stuff I want to coordinate with Dan with the community calendar, so I'll reach out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monica?
Just a reminder of the calendar, we do need to talk to town office about doing that for our community event.
I think that's a good segue into next topic.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the community event. Who wants to report on that?
Well, we have a location, we have a time, we have a caterer. The program is coming together. The program is going to be basically from 4 till 4:30. There'll be tables with information set up and people will arrive and, at 4:30, the food will come out and roughly at 5 or so, we'll start having, what we did at the Jamboree was, we called it lightning rounds where people just speak for 3 to 5 minutes about an energy project. So we have I'm gonna forget some people here. We have the sewing circle confirmed because they're working on weatherizing the building, right? Shoot, I left the list at home. Sorry. Barry. All right, Barry Warren's gonna do a talk about DIY solar. The library is gonna talk about their what they've been doing related to energy. Holly and Al, are you gonna do the batteries? They're gonna,
Yeah,
you're gonna, Holly and Al are gonna talk about the
What day is it again?
it's September 21st from 4 to 6:30.
Thank you.
Anyway, we have a whole list. We're gonna meet again. Monica's putting together a poster that still needs some editorial work.
Yes,
So
this is a very, very rough visual draft, and I do apologize, I sent it to Prestica and Janice, the random gapping in some of the sentences, the program did it, I tried fixing it. I can promise you that is not what the visual is gonna look like, so, for the project information on the side of what we have done. If you have any information about projects that you have done in the past for the Energy Committee, if you could just send me a summarized version of what has been done. So I can put it into the visual aspect of it, that'd be great. If you have any photos dealing with anything dealing with the Energy Committee or the Energy Hub. just send it to me so I can get those printed out and put them on. I'm looking at doing 2 trifolds. That's why there's a what we have done. Well, moving forward section, I'm open to discussion on what you would like to see on this. We also spoke about having this as a bulletin point type of quick information and then providing handouts with more detailed information. So if you do come to the event and you see the visual aspect that not everything that you sent to me was on here, more than likely it will be in more greater detail in the handout so that people can take it to their table while they're eating. I do have a question about when it comes to purchasing the trifold and the items for creating the visual aspects of it. Do I just purchase it and provide a ticket to Janet or Brian? Or do we ask for a certain amount because we've already budgeted for the community events?
That's a good question.
Well, I mean, we could do it either way. You know, I think some of the people, Bill, you've done some of this in the past, and I think you have too, Cressica have paid for it and asked to be reimbursed. But, you know, sometimes that's a hardship for people to advance that money, in which case we could get the money advanced.
Who, is it Brian that we need to talk to about that, or?
Yeah, he's the town
Yeah, he's the town
treasurer.
treasurer, yeah.
I need to ask him about that for the catering too, so when I find out, I can let you know.
All right, thank you so much.
I know that in the past, I mean, when we've gotten billed for things, we've submitted bill, like for the solar systems and things, we submit the bills to them to pay. And other things, particularly sometimes some of these things around buying things for the community events. Some of us have purchased things and asked to be reimbursed. Bill,
Yeah, I've just sent the receipts in to Janet. She wrote a check, came quite quickly.
I have a question from Barry. That he wants to know if he can do visuals. And I didn't know what you had arranged with Candace in terms of having access to the audiovisual system in the.
So he wants to do like a
Community.
PowerPoint or something?
Mhm.
Okay,
Could you check that out?
I will check that out.
I can't imagine. Oh,
Well, somebody has to turn it on. you know.
Right, so
yeah,
I have to find out, she told me like the microphones and all that wasn't a problem, I just don't know if there's gonna be an AV person there, so. I'm meeting with her, with Elizabeth on Thursday.
Yeah, I guess the
morning, so-
question would be to find out if Jeff
Yeah.
is gonna be there. Right,
Well, if who will be there?
Jeff,
Jeff
Jeff.
Watzel.
Okay, so the other thing is, we need people to set up, so the thing starts at 4 on Sunday, on the 21st. We need people there roughly 2:33 to set up tables, put on tablecloths. And then we need people to stay afterwards to put the chairs away and the tables away and that kind of thing, so I hope you will all be there.
I certainly.
I'll be there.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Candace said, it takes less than an hour to set up. The other thing we need is more things for handouts and, you know, things, information on tables. Efficiency Maine sent out, the big postcards about, they have a really good rebate on heat pump hot water heaters right now. That ends the end of October, so we're gonna print out some information on that. And, the federal tax credits end at the end of the year, so people can still get tax credits for certain things just till the end of the year.
so
Yeah.
Trevor's
We do,
asking.
we do have catering lined up, Blue Water Bakery's gonna do the catering. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, sorry, I just missed.
Yeah, she's supposed to be getting me the menu and all that tonight. We're gonna do a vegan option and a non-vegan option for the entrees, and then a side vegetable or salad, and then a dessert. So it'll be fairly basic dinner, but. So our group needs to meet again to like, this still needs some work. So if people have feedback for Monica, we could really use it like ASAP
Feedback and also information about projects, photos.
and photos.
Also, Is it okay with you if we do the introduction piece on one of these?
Yeah.
Right, if I could just get your email after the meeting, we can talk about this. Awesome. Thank you.
So the general idea is this will be like a trifold large thing.
That we used for some last year. Are any of those worth reprinting and using?
I can look into it and I can also coordinate with Monica to make sure we're not over over materialing and duplicating. So.
Say that again?
We'll pack manila folders for everyone.
Yeah.
And then Trevor definitely want to have a table for the window dressers, so. I guess if you can let me know what you want that to look like. They have,
I mean, will you like? Are you taking any orders?
well, I think it'd be good to have somebody sitting there to take orders.
Yeah, no, I'll
Why
be
not?
there.
Why
No,
not?
I was just imagining kind of fanfare and what
Is
happened.
it too late for taking orders, the 21st?
No, it'll still. That's why we wanted to do it in September, so we still could.
And so Trevor, as part of the program, do you want to get up and say something about the window dressers? I mean, that would be good, I think.
Yes.
Do you wanna talk about our fire department, or would you like me to talk about it?
I don't care, either way, I mean, whatever works. But what I did wanna say to you is I have lots of photographs of the various stages of the work in the buildings, but a lot of it's
Cool.
installation. You need to look at them to see what you think would be interesting.
Was there something else?
That was it.
Yeah, okay.
And so at the end, after the people that we have encouraged to do the lightning rounds, we want to encourage people in the audience to talk and, share and, part of the issue that I think we should present is that we did have bigger ideas on what we wanted to do, including the microgrid. But it's just funding has dried up, so we're sort of shifting gears. And we're gonna be focusing in the short term on reducing the amount of energy we use. Does that seem reasonable, Cressica?
We really want to pursue, energy efficiency and, of course, some sort of electrification when it's, other people paying for most of the upgrades in the short term. And there are a couple opportunities, as I emailed, that we might be able to pursue in order to get some small amount of funding to work on those, and we can introduce, I'll try to provide more of a description of different possible programs we could have, and we can see what interest is in those in terms of energy efficiency.
Will you present those, just a brief, will you
Okay.
present them at the night?
I'll go over with you first, but okay, fine. And also, it really, I'm sure we won't hear by then about ETIP, but we can certainly mention that we're like searching for every opportunity to get technical assistance, so that we're ready for when funding arrives again.
That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to put it, yeah.
Now, what should we do if someone does read about the new mission statement and they ask about what is the resilience of increasing the energy systems against climate change? How should we go against that? Because that is in the mission statement.
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry, could you?
So if we're having the event and someone asks, what are you going to be doing to increase the resiliency of Owlsboro against climate change? How are we gonna go upon that?
Yeah, well, that's what weatherization and, it's part of sustainability and it's making the houses more comfortable and more energy efficient.
I think it's fine to say we have a long-term plan to create microgrids. We don't not have the funding at the present time, but we're hoping to do, try to do more detailed planning and still keep that in the long range, as a long range goal. In the short term, working on weatherization, encouraging homeowners to make their own homes more energy efficient through things like that, or home solar credits.
Moving away from fossil fuels as much as possible.
Yeah.
For example, with heat pumps and heat pump hot water heaters.
So,
So, I mean,
Yeah,
it's all part of the bigger picture.
Yeah, I think it it might be important to point out that that was already part of the ETIP plan, the
Yeah.
long-term plan, and it's just, it's not that we're doing this instead.
Right.
We can't do the other, so we're continuing with this.
Right, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other discussion about the event? Okay, so I mentioned here the solar tax credit, so we're gonna be applying solar tax credits. I thought this was something I would be able to help just do the paperwork, but it's what we can get for the town buildings. Because town doesn't pay federal income tax, there's a sort of a tax credit equivalent, which is called the direct pay program for nonprofits and municipal buildings that both the library and the health center qualify for. But Brian really has to do the paperwork as the town treasurer with the IRS, and I gave him all the information that I had. So he's gonna be going ahead with that. What I did learn as I looked into this is that under the current law, the budget, the big beautiful bill that was passed this spring, in order for solar projects to qualify for tax credits, they either have to have had construction started by July 1st this year or be completed by the end of 2026. Now, that doesn't mean that Congress can't change that, but that's what was passed by the current Congress. And previously they shortened it a good deal because they were supposed to be in place through the rest of the decade anyways. So that does mean that if there's additional solar projects that can be completed by the end of next year, they still may qualify for the tax credits.
So
Unless Congress
is
changes.
this
it, yeah.
hard cold cash, basically?
Yeah.
This comes through Efficiency Maine or
Yeah, IRS.
IRS?
That's for commercial projects though, right?
Commercial, residential, municipal.
Cause what I've been hearing on Maine Calling had a big program on this and they said it's the end of 2025 for residential.
Yes.
Okay,
It is.
yes, okay. So I guess I was looking at, maybe what I was looking at. Was
Yeah,
for the municipal-
Yeah, I
for
think
the
commercial's
municipal
different than
building.
residential, but residential. So from what I heard on Maine Calling, if you haven't started the process for solar, it ain't gonna happen for you, for your house, if for the tax credit purpose this year, unless you really, really, really have insider knowledge of how to get it done.
Right, yeah,
It has to go into service by the end of the year.
right.
Yeah,
Has
it
to
has
be
to
going into
be,
service by the end of the year. Yeah.
There is an option that circumvents that. That the limits or that time frame. Our daughter and son-in-law are putting on solar array in their house in Catonsville. And the installer has guaranteed the tax credit. If he can't get it done in time, he will pay the tax credit himself.
have you heard of anybody around here doing that?
I have not, I haven't explored it, but I do know that some of the companies down there are competing with that option.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know that the companies around, I mean, I haven't heard that, but they also, all of them have been pretty busy, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure they are motivated to
Right.
do that, yeah.
Well, if they've really stockpiled solar panels, they may have a surplus of solar panels that they just really need to
That's
sell
possible,
and get
yeah.
on rooftops, so I guess it wouldn't hurt to ask them.
Oh, since we're talking about this, I brought this article. It's not directly relevant, but it is an approach that may help with costs. This is with regard to a group of people. I don't remember what state it is, but at any rate, the community got together. I can give you the reference of this. Community got together and did cooperative buying, cooperative paperwork, administration and so on for the purchase of solar panels all through the town. So the people who bought in got significantly reduced costs to the installation of their solar arrays. But this was done as a town group. And I'll just point out that before we came here, Revision Energy, when it was trying to expand its market in New Hampshire, they were doing the same thing. They were putting out an effort to get people to sign on, and if you got a certain number, you get this % reduction. If you got this number, you get another % reduction. Now, I explored that when we moved here, and we were looking into the prospect in this area for the committee. they weren't interested anymore, but there may be other people coming up and coming, like Solar Logics or Sundog, who would be amenable to this, I think possible.
Yeah, the state has also changed net metering, but I'm not sure they've changed it for residential. Do you know that, Cressico, whether the main legislature? They did changes for net metering for commercial, I think, but did they do it for residential?
This is one thing that I have not had time to keep up on. I'm fairly certain that level 1 and level 2 are still allowed net metering, which means
That's
like smaller arrays, like not the large scale commercial arrays. So, but I'm not entirely sure. So maybe somebody else has more information. Basically, Sundog said that, I think Sundog said we would still qualify at level 2 for net metering for the new arrays, but not entirely sure.
But that's something maybe, to think about for future discussions, so kind of out of time, any other concerns? Yeah,
A sentence, we need to think about the recommendation to the select board about the Rex administration. They've offered, this is a second sentence, they've suggested Knollwood. Select board wanted us to come up with alternative and an explanation for why, so we need to do this pretty soon.
I didn't understand what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, this was from a previous meeting. More than one sentence. When we took ownership of the solar array on this building.
Yeah,
We needed to take over the administration of the RECs, which are renewable energy
oh,
certificates.
Rex, okay.
And Revision proposed Knollwood, which is the company that deals with us at home, and I guess they recommend that routinely. The select board said, can you come up with an explanation for why it would be Knollwood? Are there other alternatives? I have tried to investigate this, not as carefully as I could have, but basically I got an email from Lucas Kramer yesterday saying, Knollwood, we learned of Knollwood years ago. We've recommended to many people in the area. They've been efficient. People like their work. That's what I know right now. I've not been able to find comparable companies in the area. I'll have to go back to work on that. But we need to do this pretty soon because those RECs are sitting out there in the market. They need to be collected and sold, or they are sold. They need to be collected and we need to be credited for that.
Well, if there isn't anybody else that's doing it, and you have people that are trustworthy who recommend it.
Well, I understand, but the select board specifically said, can you find out more? So.
Well, did you not find out more?
A little more, but not certainly to satisfy me, that I would go to them and say, here's all that is to be known about it, so.
Yeah, I think, I think a small amount of, some due diligence, do what select board asks, and then if we don't find any more information, I think going with the recommendation will make sense, so.
Bar Harbor would have these kind of credits, right? They put big arrays up, maybe.
Who would?
Bar Harbor, the city of Bar Harbor
Mhm.
put up big arrays, they must be getting these credits, maybe we could ask what company Bar Harbor deals with,
Okay,
cause that would at least
Qualifier.
be in Maine and.
Is it Bar Harbor or isn't it broader MDI that did that?
It might be all of
I
MDI.
could probably tell you.
I think it's
I think it's
MDI.
MDI.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
sure.
A second?
I say,
Jessica?
as I pack up my
Yes.
things.
Trevor had to leave. Holly,
Yes.
Ava,
Yes.
Janice.
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
me, yes, Monica.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we are adjourned. Our next meeting is October 14th.
So see you all at 3 o'clock at the ICC on September 21st, if not sooner.
Do you want to figure out when?